नमस्कार दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है नीलेश मिश्रा। स्लो कैफे में आपका स्वागत है। वही काल्पनिक जगह जहाँ मैं और आप आजकल फिर से मिलने लगे हैं। बहुत अच्छे लोगों से मिलते हैं और अच्छी अच्छी बातें करते हैं। यहाँ का जो खाना है वैसे तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि बेहतर होता जाए, लेकिन आज थोड़ी सी घबराहट हो रही है क्योंकि एक दुनिया के एक मशहूर शेफ टहलते हुए चले आए हैं स्लो कैफे में, और फिर मुझे थोड़ा लग रहा है कि भाई कहीं डांट वाट ना पड़ जाए। लेकिन मज़ेदार बात यह है कि वो बहुत ही मशहूर शेफ होने के साथ साथ बड़े प्यारे इंसान भी हैं और कई कई गुणों के धनी हैं। मैं स्वागत करना चाहता हूं विकास खन्ना जी का। हेलो विकास।
फाइनली
फाइनली यस।
एक ऐसा शो जिसका नाम में मैं आराम से एंटर हो सकता हूँ, स्लो कैफे।
हमें तो भाई डर लग रहा है, कैफे में विकास आए हैं, पता नहीं कहाँ मीन मेक निकाल दें। हमारा मेन्यू देख के, हमारे सर्विस देख के किस चीज़ पे आप अपसेट हो जाएं, इसलिए हम थोड़ा चिंतित थे। तो हमारे जो टीम है वो भी बड़ा घबराहट में थी। हाँ, लेकिन आप बड़े शांतचित्त आदमी हैं।
मैं जब अपसेट होता हूँ मैं दिखाता नहीं हूँ, which is good to see.
So lovely, yeah. और जैसा मैं आपको फ़ोन पे भी हम बात कर रहे थे, लेकिन आज की बातचीत मैं जानबूझ के अधूरी रखूँगा क्योंकि आपको और मुझको गाँव में बैठना है। आप जब भी आप आएँ, तो पहले तो बहुत बहुत बधाइयाँ। आप आज एक नए रूप में, नए चेहरे के साथ एक निर्देशक बनकर दुनिया के सामने आ रहे हैं द लास्ट कलर के साथ। तो जैसा मैंने कहा, आप अद्भुत प्रतिभा के धनी हैं। इट्स रियली अमेजिंग टू सी दीज डिफरेंट फैसेट्स ऑफ योर पर्सनालिटी। मैं भी डिस्कवर कर रहा हूँ, और मुझे बस एक ही शिकायत है आपसे कि मैं कई सालों पहले आपसे क्यों नहीं मिला, क्योंकि आप इतने इंस्पायरिंग इंसान हैं, और आपके बारे में बस ऐसे ही दूर दूर से देखा सुना, और अब बेहतर जान रहा हूँ आप के व्यक्तित्व को। देखता रहता हूँ आपके चीज़ों पे जो विचार हैं, पैंडेमिक के दौरान जो एक्स्ट्रॉर्डिनरी आपने लोगों की मदद की है। तो वो सब तो बहुत 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 इंस्पायरिंग है। अब 2 मिनट और 57 सेकंड से मैं लगातार बोल रहा हूँ, इसलिए मैं चुप हो जाता हूँ, और अब आप बोलेंगे और मैं सुनूंगा। So all yours, the mic is all yours.
आप बोलते में भी आपकी भाषा बड़ी कविता की तरह, व्यक्तित्व जो वर्ड्स में बोल भी नहीं सकते। But I'm Vikas Khanna. Absolutely, I'm proud. जो हमने वादा किया था कि आपके गांव आके इंटरव्यू करेंगे, ये भी अब we'll have to take liberty of this time, what's happening in the world.
Yes.
But thank you very much for doing this.
So मैं देख रहा था कि आपने ट्वीट किया था कि आपने नीना जी को एक तस्वीर भेजी थी 2 साल पहले टाइम स्क्वायर पे, वो तस्वीर लगा के, और आज और एक हफ्ते तक न्यूयॉर्क में जगह जगह द लास्ट कलर की झलकियाँ देखेंगे, तो कमाल का लम्हा होगा ये।
हाँ, मैं वहीं रहता हूँ, बिल्कुल उसके पास ही। एंड हम जब भी वहां से निकलते हैं तो not just me, anybody, American or European or worldwide, Times Square is the biggest stage, so
Yes.
आपका अगर क्रिएटिव काम वहां पे डिस्प्ले होता है, and I think this is a great victory for independent films. We are not a production house, we are not a big house, which the movie was not bought by anyone. Because everybody thought the movie is too simple. Story is too simple. It doesn't have that जो आज की ज़माने में movies होती हैं. But I am inspired by our old movies, so that is why I made it. I wanted people to enter a world which is totally quiet. It's away from everything else, and that's why we didn't even shoot in main Varanasi. We shot everything in Panchganga. which is like 1 hour away from the main cards. Because अब वो उस सोच के साथ आपने पिक्चर बनाई और to get this commercial ventures in Times Square. I think अभी डिजिटल बसेस भी शुरू हो चुकी होंगी. हाँ, 12 बजे शुरू. अब डिजिटल बसेस भी will be all over. And I told Neena ji, आप रंगों में नाचोगे Times Square में. And she must be like, this guy is crazy. But I think it's okay to be dreamer. It's okay, and then you put your heart and soul into it and you make it happen.
Right. But you are a bit crazy, aren't you?
Stable crazy.
Good
I
crazy.
think for the mama, she keeps me stable. But now I can be all over the place. Because mom, yeah, I can actually dream too big sometimes. And, it's also when you're repressed for so many years and when you get your freedom, you also become very fearless in a way. Some people सहम जाते हैं कि लोग, मैं सहमता नहीं. And I had to understand how I can be I was totally unconfident person, totally not speaking to anyone. Kitchen, steel walls ki life, bilkul. I was very happy. And then I felt that no, there is too much of prejudice against people of color who are cooks. And I had to fight that, and there's too much of prejudice when Indians are writing. They feel that it's not that the way, Caucasians or Americans or Europeans write. But there was too much of pressure, which I cannot tell you that the war was not with the outside world, it is with me. That ke mujhe ye surpass karna hai. And it's like you go and work with big chefs and they'll say, no, we don't hire. And I know what they mean, that, you're not at the level of international cooking standards and you're not the Michelin guys. So मैं होता Michelin guys, तो Michelin जो inspectors आते हैं वो भी तो Europeans ही होते हैं. उनकी palate भी तो अभी develop नहीं हुई Indian खाने के लिए. I used to consider that for myself. Then I said, what, this is a big war. I'll have to stand in the battlefield alone. Absolutely alone. Absolutely alone with 3 people on the phone. This is what I tell people. There are a lot of people in my life who say, अरे हमने तेरे को बनाया. मैं कहता हूँ 3 लोगों ने मुझे बनाया. Mom, dad and my grandmother. Because they were the only ones I would call when it was such dark, struggling here to find my own space. And the phone बहुत महंगे थे, अब तो WhatsApp calls होती हैं. तब तो phone मतलब you have to get a scratch card, scratch it, और कभी-कभी hello की और phone खत्म. And and खड़े होके phone booth के ऊपर ठंड में, Corona Avenue पे Queens में, and every time you were going through something, you didn't tell them because मैं लड़के आया था घर से. तो अच्छा. Mental. You're right, I'm a madman. आपने बोला मुझे strike. I was trying to prove I'm normal. But you're right, some days you are feeling that, but now some days I feel I'm overrated. Now, मेरी मतलब life में कोई balance नहीं है. But then that's a very tough choice when a person of color, जैसे कहा जाता है हमको brown people, when they are not trying to be fitting into the format of what they expect us to do as immigrants. When you try to create your own streets, you want to create your own path, and you don't listen to anyone. And New York is the toughest city to make success in a business. And people don't know. I didn't get a Michelin star by opening first restaurant. This was my 7th restaurant. And मतलब आपके कितने restaurants fail हुए, खुले, bankrupt हुए, फिर आपने खोला. And then you went to Europe to train. And then I went to Paris to train because मुझे फर्क समझना था Michelin star खाने में और खाने में फर्क है. A Michelin star chef, and it's like almost like to make people understand an Oscar-winning actor, a nominated actor, and an actor. What is the difference? So there is a difference of discipline. First of all, I'll say there's a big difference, and the second big difference is how much you're ready to risk yourself. Because this is going to take a toll on your health, on your mind. You will have depressions, you'll have mental issues because you'll be stressed out. And many of I'm not going to say friends, many of the people I know who take solace under drugs, and I see them antidepressants because too much of pressure on chefs, and this has never come out to people, and especially when as you go higher and higher, you become under microscope. Be New York Times ka review aana, bhi ye aana. They're going to come and review you any day, and you don't know here.
Yeah.
America is a different country altogether. And, it's like they'll come again and again and they'll find one mistake and destroy your career. Or they can uplift you so we've gone through all the ups and lows. So मैं attention नहीं लेता. So this is good. It gives me some stability to have my mom talking to me and every two times a day when I wake up and when I go to sleep. I just feel that gives me a sense of stability. That there's someone who doesn't care about this face. She just cares about me and doesn't care about anything, success or failures. She just cares about ke. She knows I'm a coffee addict. Coffee pee ke.
But you're a happy person.
हाँ मैं
Or is that?
हाँ बिल्कुल 100%. मैं भटूरे बेच के भी बहुत खुश था. मैं बहुत खुश था. And people, I used to be a delivery boy in Papa's video cassette library थी पापा की बसंत एवेन्यू में अमृतसर में जी. हाँ, तो वीडियो टेप पे जो होती है ना VHS जो आती थी पहले तो वो होती थी और मैं डिलीवरी बॉय था पापा का और I was a bad delivery boy because दुखी हो रहा था आंटियों से. आंटियां पिक्चर वापस नहीं करती थी. अब पापा फिर गाली मुझे निकल जा वापस लेके आ. And I don't know how to fight things. I used to tell auntie please ये तो बड़ी मार पड़ेगी please पिक्चर वापस. हमें देखी आधी पिक्चर देखी है तो फिर लाइन आ गया निकल बाहर. And I'm like it's but even then I was happy and then we started business and I was very young and then I started working. I've worked all my life. I've worked my entire life. I've worked. I think अमृतसर क्लब वहां पे है अमृतसर में. वहां पे एक दिन मैं ऑर्डर ले आया. वहां पे किसी को जानता नहीं था. जस्ट I got an order for selling glasses to them. Glasses. अच्छा. कि शीशे की ग्लास. अब आ गया और ना कोई हिस्ट्री ना कुछ. Went to मुरादाबाद. Figured out with somebody. और वहां से ग्लास लेके आया. पता नहीं 600 रुपए के 700 रुपए बनाए. And I came back and I gave it to my BG. Said कमाई की मुझे चोरी करके आया. मैं कहती चोरी नहीं करके आया. मैं वो ग्लासों के पीछे नहीं पड़ा हुआ था. रोज ग्लास उठा के घूमता था. वो मैं बेच के. I was like very young and I wanted to be someone from the very beginning.
Where did that come from? Or is it a cultural thing? Ambition? Is it a Punjabi thing?
Inequality. I have always used that word. Even now I use in America that I hate being unequal. I just don't like that word unequal. And when you're born with certain kind of disabilities as a child, people actually think you're not equal to them. You're not equal to their kids, and you're not. So people always have. And I never forget. One teacher said that you will not have friends. You will have sympathizers. And maybe she was upset with me. She said that तेरे तर्स खाने वाले होंगे, तेरे दोस्त नहीं कोई बनना पूरी उम्र. And like that had struck me as a child, like saying that to a child, like why could you be so unkind to say that to a child के तेरा दोस्त नहीं कोई बनेगा, तेरे पे sympathize करने वाले लोग होंगे.
ऐसा क्यों कहा उन्होंने?
Because I used to walk in a clumsy way. I used to wear different kind of shoes, and I never used to play sports. And I was very quiet and extremely bad in studies. And even math के एग्जाम में मेरा 0 आया था तो टीचर कहती प्लीज ऐड कर लो, शायद को ऐड करना था. 0 + 0 is 0. So I was never doing well, and also never used to listen to teachers also, and I was also bad. And then they threw me out of the school once. And मुझे वो भी याद है कि मैंने माँ पे ऐसे लिखा था, तो सबने लिखा था ऐसे, तो मुझे तो I can photographically I can memorize things. And तो टीचर ने कहा कि my name of my mother is Bindu Khanna. She is a very good lady. When I go back from school, she helps me with my homework. But सब कुछ याद है. It's been almost like what you talking about 45 years.
Wow.
40 something, 42 years or something. And I'm like, मैं कहा ये ऐसे तो सबने लिखा है, पर मेरी माँ तो सबसे अलग है. तो मेरी माँ का ऐसे मैं खुद लिखूंगा. And I wrote an essay on mom that and I just learned about delivery, what is pregnancy. I just learned about market. One of my aunts was pregnant, so I figured out, oh my God. So before anyone else meets you, your mother meets you in the womb. And मैंने वो कहते ये pervert है, इसका brain गलत है, तो मम्मा को स्कूल बुलाया तो मम्मा भी रो रहे हैं.
Brain गलत है. अच्छा.
Because we are very used to templated education. I'm not worse against educational system where copying exactly is intelligence in a way.
Absolutely.
You can exactly write what teacher wants, you get 100 marks. But the moment you want to think something different, you have to get thrown out. और मैं साइकिल पे हूँ, टूटे साइकिल चला रहा हूँ, मम्मा रिक्शा में रो रही है, कितना जंप पे है, कदे आगे स्कूलों में की. And I went to my grandmom and she says, फिर क्यों है, अपनी कहानी खुद लिखते.
Wow.
That never left me. That
amazing.
अपनी कहानी ना अपने आप ही लिखते हैं. And I know कि पता, what do these people know? That you are born to write your own story and और घर में सारे सिर पकड़ के बैठे हुए हैं कि 3rd में फेल हुआ, 4th में फेल हुआ, 5th में स्कूल से निकाला गया. So they were like, oh my, what are we going to do with this guy?
You were trying to fit in from an early age, or?
I was very desperate to fit in. I was very desperate, and I would always feel that, because of this inequality, I should fit in. I should do something else, and I could then, you had counseling of your grandmom saying that kids can say anything they want, but remember, only you can make a round roti. So, oh my God, I'm actually superior to them. You're not less than them. Gold roti to main bana sakta hu. So I used to think that's a superpower I have, but it's not true. It's just that because I put my energy into it, and I felt that this is going to make me equal to everyone else. And that's why people say I'm very resilient.
Right.
I become a different kind of and I fail a lot because I also take a risk a lot. Imagine at 50 years old, I'm getting 50. I subject myself to such crazy, world's most difficult art of filmmaking. I decided that, no, there could be a very amazing revolution which can happen from movies, which I saw in my documentaries, that how people responded to my documentaries. And I said, there could be a big force. And you subject yourself to such, analysis. People would analyze you, criticize you, anything. I'm like, wo to bachpan se karte aaye, wo to badi baat nahi hai. But also remember one thing, on my desktop, there's a document of the New York Times review of Pather Panchali, which said it would have not made the rough cut in Hollywood. It's that bad a movie.
My God.
And I say, my mom said, be on the stage, don't be the critic. Be on the stage. क्योंकि जब स्टेज वाला बंदा मरता है, सारी दुनिया को पता लगता है. That is you are not sitting in the audience and writing about how people are doing. You're writing about what you are doing. So those things affected me a lot, and I developed my brain before I moved to US in 2000. I did not know it is going to be so hard. I'll be honest.
अमृतसर के उन दिनों और अमेरिका आने के बीच में क्या हुआ?
So I started my banquets लॉरेंस गार्डन, और मेरे चाचा जी आए थे आयरलैंड से. हम कहते थे, अरे चाचा जी इतने इंटेलिजेंट है, गोरों के साथ भी इंग्लिश बोल लेते हैं. Because Punjabi can speak English amongst themselves. किसी को समझ नहीं आती, बाहर के लोगों को समझ नहीं आती, इनको समझ आती है आपस में. जी. After 8 o'clock, everybody speaks English. So he said कि इसको बहुत एक important, आप नोट नहीं कर रहे एक बात, कि लड़के में कितनी ऑनेस्टी है, and he is dedicated to this. और आंटियों को भटूरे बना के खिलाते हैं और बिल्कुल डरता नहीं है. कोई गाली भी निकालता है तब भी खड़ा हो जाता है वहां पे. एंड कोई कहता नहीं कोई बात नहीं, कल अगली बार पैसे दे देना, इस बार अच्छा लगा खाना. और पंजाबी आंटियों को खुश करना भी मुश्किल होता था, बिकॉज खाती एक तो थोड़ा डाइट भी है उनकी. तो मैंने तो कुछ खाया नहीं, मेरे पैसे डिस्काउंट दे. एंड यू न्यू I was a kid and I knew almost everybody in that circle. Everybody I knew. I was just 15-16 साल लड़के को कितनी समझ हो सकती है. And of course mom was running the front of the house and my grandmother would be in the kitchen. And it was hard time, but whenever we celebrated a small victory party went well, it was great. But kitchen में छत नहीं थी, which I would never forget over that fear. Kitchen में छत नहीं थी, तो बारिश की वजह से सब कुछ गया. So that had few things stuck with me, and then I went to college. Thanks to my Chacha ji for guiding me. I went to college in Manipal. I did Welcome Group School of Hotel Administration. I didn't do well at all in theory. Most of I just borderlined, but I was different phenomena in practicals. Even now, teachers say that बोलना नहीं आता चीज का नाम, पर पता है सबके फर्क पता लग गया. And it was amazing. Professor Tarakan was there. I had Paru ma'am, who's the principal now, was the principal just now, and we had Professor Thiru, who Professor Ezekiel. So it was amazing to have this faculty, and I studied, and I got an opportunity to work first at Taj, 1991. 1992, I worked at Mughal Sheraton in Agra, and then Xerox Sheraton in Bombay, and then I went to Kathmandu, sold Tube Roy's for Italian kitchen, and then I got a job at Leela's in 1994 when I graduated. And after that, I went back home and I saw that my mother was getting old and she was still running my banquets. I said, Mama, let's close it. I'm working in 5-star hotels. I can't close it. Tune boota ugaya. You planted this. How can I just close it? Wow. There's so many memories of you running around here, and सब्जी मंडी से सब्जियां ला रहा है और सब कुछ कर रहा है, कहती है, I can't just close it. तंदूर, इस तंदूर से तूने सीखा, how can I just close it? And it was hurting me that, people can be very unkind to women in hospitality, and
Yeah.
that had a very lasting impression on my mind.
जी.
That how people actually treat, especially the evening parties, drunk people, and not running proper facilities. So I said I quit my job, and then I moved back to Amritsar. I worked there from 1995 to 2000. I was one of the most successful and one of the richest bachelors in Amritsar, without any arrogance.
अल्लाह.
अपने घर अब 10-10 गाड़ियां, 300 लोग काम कर रहे हैं नीचे, बैंकेट, शादियों का तो बिगेस्ट सीजन होता था, मतलब आई हैड नो टाइम टू ब्रीथ. और फिर एक दिन गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स had something with my dad and the place, and they broke the ceiling of the banquets, and that voices were very loud to me, and I was standing there and I was crying like I was 29, and I said, please mat todo, papa ko aane do, papa ko aane do. Shadiyon ka season tha, and papa was not there, and I didn't know what was the thing between going on, and they said nahi, ye sab illegal hai, and they just broke the entire banquets in front of me. And
My God.
That things don't crush me fast. I remember things, but I keep moving on. But that crushed me, and I said, कुछ तो होगा life में better करने के लिए. And then I decided to get a visa for US, and I came to US in 2000.
आपने अपनी मदर और अपनी दादी का नाम नहीं बताया.
मम्मा का नाम है मिसेस बिंदु खन्ना, बीजी का नाम है मिसेस बिमला खन्ना.
अक्सर नानियों और दादियों के नाम नहीं लिए जाते, बस नानी दादी बन के रह जाती हैं.
Right? Because वो एक ही होते हैं दुनिया में. अभी भी I have a friend, his name is Ankit, his mother's name is Bimla. मैं जब भी उसको फोन करता हूँ, I'm like, I can't take your mom's name. You don't know. This is. I hope she's watching, and I hope she's seeing के मेरा पागल बच्चे ने अपनी कहानी खुद लिखी. Even if he failed, but he still wrote the story. He was not giving up on copying people's stories, and that's why as a chef also my journey has been totally different. Absolutely, I don't follow any rules. I don't follow exact templates of some tabletop cooking. I always have to challenge myself and do something new. And in America, it's a very different. I did not understand that in America, everybody's fine with you as long as you're working as just a social security number, and you don't do anything to interrupt the cycle. That's what I say. Inter cycle bana hua hai, who rules and who is going to get ruled.
Right.
So there's a hierarchy which is already set for us as people of India. And we can't be performers here. We can't be on the stage here. If you want to, there's a big price you have to pay of how do you sustain this or endure this. And that's great because the greatest are in the city. And you're talking about the Manhattan, and that's the greatest of the greatest city, which is as competitive as you get on the planet. And this was hard initial first years. It still is hard. Still, because I also think very absolutely, abhi ye kar liya, we've done it for a few years. Let's go a little higher. Let's think about something even more crazy. And let's execute it with full integrity, and we'll figure out the finances. But we will continue to do this. And if people think that I'm not good enough, then they don't have the parameters to decide for me.
तो बचपन में भी आप एक तरह से जैसा आपने कहा अपने लिए जगह बना रहे थे, और जब आप यहाँ आए तब भी trying to create your space, and you succeeded in both places.
Not really.
No? Okay. Why do you say that?
In America, I feel that I've seen the highest and the lowest. Highest, possible highest, when I remember on October 5th in 2011 when I received the Michelin star. It's the biggest high I felt at that moment because I became numb. Numb. Not because I became numb because of the award, because I was surprised at how everything around you changed. That you had a validation which would have never happened.
Class system था जिसमें आप ऊपर चले गए थे.
It was the class system. In New York Times review, when they wrote about my cooking, that was a big thing, 29th March 2011, and people who don't know, just to tell you that getting reviewed by the Times is possibly the most powerful thing on this planet.
Right.
It is, and my kitchen manager was Andrew Blackmore. We worked together for almost 15 years. And he used to tell me, I said, I don't care. He said, do not say that. The moment you're going to get the review, you will understand the power of Times. And the review came out at 1:29 in the afternoon. And the phone did not stop ringing for 2 years. That there was no way to get people in, because the Times has said this is a rise of something else. But itni ek word ki itni value thi us time pe, and because of the Times, you could be on every mainstream channel. But that all happened later, which people in the sequence of things was all happened later. I was also very enterprising as I was from very beginning. I had a cooking school on my own. I had a restaurant on with my Virji. I had a restaurant on Fulton Street across the World Trade Center. I had a massive catering company, and that is where I would make all the money. But I didn't understand कि respect क्यों नहीं है. I would never figure that out. आप रेस्टोरेंट खोला हुआ आपने फुलटन स्ट्रीट के ऊपर, वॉल स्ट्रीट के B1 B2 वीजा के जो लड़के आते हैं, लड़कियां आती हैं, all the kids come from India. उनको होम स्टाइल खाना चाहिए, तो $4 $3 में आप खाना दे रहे हो. उसमें भी I remember that there was a Daily News, which is a big newspaper here. They did a 1-page full article as a cover story, which ran about I live a dream every single day. And my dream was making utpams bana raha hu wahan khada hoke. And they're like, he does everything himself from front to the back. And you go and see, he's always in a good mood. Like that is what the channel is, always in a good mood. Like the lines of people who come just to talk. And I was still opening up to the world, and somebody must be eating there, and they were one of the, I think, producers or something on Gordon Ramsay's show, who said, you got to bring this guy on television. He needs, there is something we are telling you. And they invited me to meet Gordon Ramsay. I'm like, Arey, it's my lunchtime, I can't come. And it's literally like, they must be wondering कितना पैसा बनाता था उधर. तो Gordon Ramsay कह रहा है कि अभी नहीं आ सकता. मैं कहा 3 बजे मेरा free होता है, because too many people come to meet and talk and eat, and we were really not doing business, I'll be honest with you. It was just a socializing club for me. पूरा दिन. And I went to see Gordon Ramsay, and he says that you need to be on television. I'm like, I'd hardly speak also. Kehte no, and they actually trained me at 6-7 lines on the show. And the first line was, we are in the heart of Manhattan and we can do it here. I could not say that simple. That was the first line. And he's saying that, but he's saying, and then he tells the director, the camera guy, he's saying, you know what? The moment he's going to walk in, nobody cares what he's going to say. Nobody's going to care. I've been doing television. The moment he walks in from that curtain, that he is a consultant of this project on Kitchen Nightmares, nobody's going to pay attention to what he's going to say. There's a very different demeanor, and we'll all be looking at that. मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. मैं भी कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. We are in the middle of Manhattan. We are in the Manhattan middle. मैं तो इतना nervous. And then I said, let's cook. तो कहते, no sir, you have to first be presented and then you cook. And that was the first experience of major. And next day when it launched on Easter Day, the show released on Easter Day in 2007. And I'm coming out of Subway. This is like really life-changing moment. And I see Metro newspaper, and I'm on the cover, which says the hottest chef around. Wow. मैं देख रहा हूँ, मैं recognize नहीं कर रहा, because sometimes the pictures are in not high resolution and like kind of low, and you're looking at it. I said, oh my God. And I go to the restaurant, and I see line of people outside. मैंने कहा क्या हो क्या रहा है? मेरे को बंद कराने आ गए रेस्टोरेंट. मेरे को तो वही एक्सपीरियंस था कि रेस्टोरेंट लोग आते हैं ज्यादा, तो समझ लो आपकी बोरिया बिस्तरा पैक है आपका. तो कहते no chef, they are all been waiting for you since morning. मैं कहा अच्छा क्या हुआ है? मैं कहा खाने कल की कंप्लेंट है. कहते सर get over that. ना मैं पीछे से भागा रेस्टोरेंट में कि यार इतने लोग सामने से कभी देखते, हम तो रश देखते नहीं थे रेस्टोरेंट में कभी इतना. But you saw that people were changing, and there was a gravity and authenticity. There was I'm talking about more than 13-14 years ago. And then David Letterman's office called and said, we would like to do an episode with you. And they said, we want to make just fun that how many people on the street actually care about Indian food. I said, you're going to degrade my cuisine. And I know exactly where you're coming from. This girl is like, freelancer, and she's talking to me. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that 60 seconds of fame guy.
Yeah.
Worked very hard. My family has sacrificed everything for me to be here. I need to pass this. And because 54th Street was the restaurant, and 54th Street is David Letterman. So they thought they can take me to the street, and because they're recognizing me. And they can say, do you like Indian food? Do you like? They're going to do those questions. I know that. And I don't want to be part of those theatrics.
Stereotype के सांचे में आपको fit करना है.
100-foot journey की तरह. जैसे stereotype है मेरे को कि you don't deserve on your own. You have to work under white people. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this, because I exactly know that most of the people on the street would say, no, we stay away from India. And I know the stereotype, but you're going to pronounce it because you have so much of power that you're going to also influence people who are not there. You're also going to do that. And I saw that happen to most of the ethnic cuisines. And I said, you know what? I don't care about this. I do not want to sell myself to make fun of the cuisine, which has my entire life to it. And we did a lot of opportunities like that, where people would just want to be a part of it too. They love that you're suppressed. And I'm like, holy God, no, sir. I forget about being equal. I'm much better than you. Just wait. पता नहीं कहाँ से confidence आया था. I have no idea.
एक जगह आपने ये भी कहा है कि that you came face to face with hunger not in India but in America. ऐसा हाँ उसका क्या context था?
4:30 बजे थे रात के, and I had just finished Barkat, which was a massive food drive for transgenders and people living with AIDS and sex workers, and in Delhi. And I had just finished that. 4:30 mere baj gaye the to monitor. And I was not in my frame of mind when I was home.
No, but you were talking about your experiences after.
मैं interview उन्होंने BBC की interview book की थी मेरी, and I was like on live television, and I'm listening, I'm answering everything what they're saying, and I was almost like verge of going to sleep at 5 baj gaye the almost. The moment I heard the question, my eyes opened. I'm like, oh my God, can I ever win this war?
क्या question था?
You don't come from a privileged background, and here in America, you come from India, so you must know hunger very well. And I also know that, and I'm not the person who's मैं बिल्कुल नहीं करता कि गोरों की तरह मिलके एक्टिंग करूं, उनके एक्सेंट बदल के उनके साथ नाचो, उनको खुश करो. I don't patronize at all. I patronize good artists. I totally do. But I don't patronize based on ethnicities that, oh my God, गोरे आए हैं, अब सब बिच जाओ नीचे, हाथ जोड़ो और आरती करो. I'm like, I'm not that guy. And suddenly I've almost like woke up and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, it's true. I must tell you that my sense of hunger didn't come from India, because I was born and raised in Amritsar, where they have traditions, not just there. I want to say, and I'm not denying the hunger index of India. I'm not denying it. But if you're going to constantly put something in people's mind, then there is no way that you will have someone who can start a new narrative, because everybody is already buying the same narrative that in India there's so much of, and I'm like, oh, I must wake up now and ho gaya bahut smile. Sir, I know what you're saying is true, but where I come from, it was not true, because you have institutions where everyone is feeding you. And if you look at closely, I don't remember India mein, there is something which people would share. There is something in the basic soil of basic heritage of the country. We inherit this behavior. Train mein baithe ho, kahin baithe ho. There's some people guilt. I remember my mother used to feel guilt if she's eating. I never understood that, and I felt that if I'll just do this, I'm going to tell you this now. I'm no fantastic. It is, of course, it is a very background. Like, you know what? I'm not going to sell myself for that. I sell myself for many other things. I know that, but I'm not going to do that. And I said, it's what you're saying is true, but my sense of hunger comes from New York, where there's a hunger of a different way, which is very crushing, which is they isolate you. They totally isolate you. It could be absolutely non-inclusive world. And living in homeless shelter here in December of 2000 and till January of 2001, I felt that it's a very difficult a sense of hunger here, which they don't. If now you see that after that, there's so many people who start putting out, even Americans, as the hunger index in America is going so high in such a wealthy country. And I'm like, in a poor country where you think that everybody's hungry, which is totally not true.
Yeah.
And then I stopped doing interviews after that. I think for 2 months, I'm like, I don't want to talk about this. But now I'm almost in terms with it that, it's going to happen all the time. The moment you're on the center stage and says, oh, look at this story of Slumdog. I'm like, what did you just call me? No, we're just saying that, you.
Oh, they use this. That's how they describe you on air?
On air, off air, I don't know, but I have heard that many times, and they say that this is one of a lifetime. This is like
fits an arc, a conveniently created narrative.
But I said I can't run away from it. But let me also not just lie down and start applauding and saying, "Or nay," accents and all those things and name changings, and let's not do that. Don't call me Vic. I used to tell them, please don't call me Vic. And oh no, let's call you V. My mom calls me Viku, and that is not because she can't pronounce her real name.
Yeah.
And I really thought as a kid growing up, because I was so dumb, I thought my name was Viku. School mein jaake pata laga my naam Vikas hai. That is very sacred to me. Don't change my name. And it has to be okay. I agree they can't say Khanna, they say Khana. So I'm like, that works for me too. That means food. I'm happy for that. I'm one of the few people whose name they changed and it actually benefited me. Like it's like Rocky. Everybody's setting you up for failure, and you are successful because of destiny.
Wow. तो इतनी पॉजिटिविटी, इतनी सकारात्मकता कहाँ से लाते हैं आप?
My next project, which we announced in January, is one of my most ambitious projects. Most ambitious. And I'm opening an India Cultural Center in New York, in the heart of the city. Next time when Neelesh wants to launch a book, there is a full-fledged facilities he can use for free. Just to promote Indian arts, culture, heritage, artwork, culinary arts. It is just for that. It's a massive penthouse where open space can actually host 200 people right across the US. And you have to see what I'm going to do with the setup of the place. And once we approve something with the request, and then everything is free. And we post it and we promote it, because I feel that the initial years of struggle have been hard, and there was no place, no platforms available for people of color. There's a Japanese society, American societies, Jewish societies, there's so many societies. But I felt, chota sa effort karte hai, because my effort will still be small. But you don't know if a very big person who's very successful can see it and says, you know what, let's do this in a full. Asia, I feel that's becoming pronounced, but India Cultural Center is still a need in Manhattan, when you have anybody can come and use the facilities, and it's going to be just like it's India's. I'm just a caretaker. I'm just saying, and I'm also calling it an amazing word which nobody knows, and I'm announcing it to your show that it's called Binder.
Oh,
it's my mom and dad's name combined together. It's
beautiful.
N and the Vinder. It's DER. And first 3 alphabets and last 3 alphabets, and it's going to be and everybody is like, it's been going on for 3 years, this struggle that we need to create a stage for a few years, if we can sustain it, but sustain it in the highest possible quality. Sustain it where people come and there's a cultural event happening, and you have the voice to cross over, and you can invite people to, if something is important, it could be. And this is the only kitchen in New York City which is totally made of glass from ceilings to walls. It's right out there. We, on first week of January, when we do the Havan, then it just finished all the renovations. And you'll say, Matlab, this is all extension of my hands, which I feel, and I don't deny to be in a power of position and privilege. I don't deny that. But I'm also guilty about that. So I think that will make me... मैं 30 साल पहले भटूरे बेच रहा था ₹2 के. How rare is that story? How rare. और आज भी आंटी पैसे नहीं देती थी. मैं भी अभी बोलूँ या आपकी तुम्हें बताऊँ मैं आंटियों को आज मेरा बर्थ है, चल 10 पैक कर दे. मैं क्या आंटी मैं बड़ी पार पड़ेगी पापा से, मत करो. क्या करना तेरी आंटी लगनी है मैं, you know. But I also realized, and it was also very funny things for me because I love being happy, and even if you're not doing. So मैं कहता था आंटी देखो 22 औरतें थी, 22 पर हेड था और 2 बच्चे थे. And she said, तुम मेरे बच्चों के पैसे लेगा तू इतना. मैं क्या आंटी देखो मैं क्या करूं बताओ, पापा ने गिन लिया ना और पापा भी बाहर खड़े गिन रहे थे. 22 जनानियां सी, तू 15 में पैसे लेते हैं तो 7 पैसे तेरा क्यों देगा. मैं क्या पापा आप दे दो ना, मतलब आई कांट फाइट विद. एंड फिर देन शील से कि मतलब ये तो इसको हाफ पैसे क्यों लो, आपकी बेटी आपसे लंबी है और नजर ना ला तू. मैं क्या आंटी प्लीज टीटी. आई यूज्ड टू फील आई एम लाइक अ टीटी जो सब लोगों से लड़ाई कर रहा होता है कि दे शुड लाइक लिटरली
इनका फुल टिकट होना चाहिए,
आधी टिकट है पूरी टिकट है. मैं वही करता था पूरा दिन. Oh my God, I'm speaking about this after almost 3 decades. That it's amazing that my brain, more than 3 decades, that कि आंटी प्लीज ये तो इतनी बड़ी हो गई है, आंटी ये 25 साल की हो, हाँ बेटी होती है मेरे लिए, तो तू बता तू बड़ा हो गया मेरे लिए, तू तो बच्चा ही है ना अभी. मैं क्या हाँ ठीक है अब कितने हैं आंटी, 15 नहीं 20 रुपए दे दो प्लीज इसके. दिस इज हाउ आई यूज्ड टू आर्ग्यू. एंड I realized one thing, that was my biggest training ground of stay calm about these things. Money is going to come and money is going to go. And Papa is going to be sitting outside and counting कितनी जनानियों खाना खिलाया है. पापा मैं बिल पता नहीं कितने गुम गया, पैसे कितने गुम गए पापा ये देखे कहीं है. पापा will be sitting and calculating. कहते तू ते तेरी माँ चैरिटी खोलो इसके बाद. लंगर खोलिया तुसी लोगों ने, खर्चे के पूरे. And we did not know those things. We were just doing it out of love for it. And फिर my big advocate would come अपने मंदिर से और पुप्पू रहन दे काम करदा पे ना बरकत होंदी है लोकी खा के जान और तुसी भी गा रहे हो यार. लाइक this was a talk after every billing I did. और मैं डरता था बिलिंग करने के लिए, मुझे किसने पैसे नहीं देने बिकॉज छोटा सा बहुत पतला सा था. लोगों को पता था कि भाग रहा हूँ खाना ये लेके अपनी खुद ही वेटर का काम भी सब कुछ. एंड देन बीजी कहंदे सी बड़ी बरकत होंदी है लोकी खा के जान ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ. ਪਾਪਾ used to keep telling me there's a difference. ਇਹ ਘਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ, ਇਹ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਖੋਲਿਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. So please understand the difference.
Right.
Not your guests, these are guests, these are customers. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਘਰ ਲੋਕੀ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਜਾਨ ਬੜੀ ਬਰਕਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਪੁੱਪੂ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੇ. It's like what you guys are you joke, like some people from outside, what are you guys doing? This is a real, you're doing it for a party to people of whom you don't even know. Now I look back and I say, that also gave me, sometimes I'm just sitting by myself and I start laughing. And somehow I feel that was my bigger training than colleges in America, Europe or India. That was my bigger training than big hotels or chefs could teach me was, you can recover from financial loss, but a customer loss you might not be able to recover. So every time I do an event, people are coming and telling me, you remember my son Jason, you were the first person he ate from the hands of Indian food. Now he's 25, now he's playing the soccer games, now he's doing. I'm like, itne saal ho gaye humko America mein. You also sent a free garlic naan on the table because you said you must try it. And make a yaar, this is amazing. This is like the continuity of an extension of your culture as a legacy, where you have been feeding people and you've seen who feeds you. You're not hiding and okay, you just take this food. You don't have to cook tomorrow, just take it. और मैं हर बिजनेस करता हूँ, मुझे लग रहा है वही चल रहा है, मेरा लॉरेंस गार्डन चल रहा है. I have to keep reminding myself, this is business. Please understand.
वाह, ये जो लोग खाना बनाते हैं और जो लोग जिनको आनंद आता है, मजा आता है उसमें, और उसके बाद चाहे वो माँ हो, चाहे कोई शेफ हो या वो जो सर्व करना और उसकी जो छोटी छोटी बारीकियां और उसका जो एक शब्द होता है मनुहार, I don't know how to translate it very well, but the joy also of feeding, right? I mean, it's such a beautiful emotion.
I was at Cornell in the summer school.
Ji.
So they asked me, what is the greatest responsibility of joy of being a chef? This was the question, project. I said, if you look closely, this is one of the most ancient art. Humans learn to survive eating.
Right.
But at the same time, this is the only edible art. The moment you are eating my food, everything is consumed in your body. It's absorbed in your metabolism system. What other art can always be inside your body and mind? And whatever you, and you know, when you look at the Sanskrit Shloka, so many times they say that, you know, this is the food which is now going to make you think. And Buddhism, they say that every grain of rice, every grain of food I eat is a sacrifice of life. May I be worthy of this sacrifice.
Wow.
I just think that, you know, every scriptures has taught us this. This is the art which they feel that, you know, that is when every time a visit to Varanasi had also been based on Annapurna temple, because I felt, oh my God, even the gods come and bow here. The biggest gods had to put the neck down and bow here. And you could be the most powerful people. We are all bowing down to Annapurna. And we, as having this position of in the kitchen, you feel that some days, of course, you are always throwing tantrums and going crazy. But there are moments in life when you feel that, oh my God, imagine to be in this position when you're becoming a part of millions of people's lives every single day when you're feeding them. But I did not expand my restaurant business or empire without having a logistical reason to it. I will not do that overnight. You have 20 restaurants and you can't manage them. I need to have micromanagement, literally, and I have trust issues, and I will in my lifetime. You're never going to see templated restaurants where like same restaurants going to come up 100 of them. I feel sometimes that one restaurant, because my big inspiration of a restaurant comes from this restaurant in Surat called Sasuma.
Acha.
And that's a small restaurant, and it's on the first floor. You have to climb the steps, and you know, of course. So I've flown to Surat just to tell myself that this is not a Michelin star restaurant, and still my heart bleeds every time I'm flying to Surat and say, "Hey Rabba." And you know, they say that, you know, Surat ka khana or Varanasi ka marna is like the most important thing of humans. Restaurant changes my perception of food business all the time. I think they also run it like Lawrence Garden because they come and they start feeding you. And this is as a chef, no, but if somebody tells me, ek story to aapko khani hogi aur. Guys, it isn't supposed to be portion control. Like, this is where I come from in the first time. And then, आप ना अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ सर, अभी तो ज्वार की रोटी लग रही है पीछे. आप अच्छा दीदी ने रोटली बना रही है. I said, who's Didi? He's saying we only have women chefs in the back.
Wow.
I said, oh my God, that's the difference. And first time I went there, I was very emotional and I couldn't control it. And you know, it's not just that I can go to a restaurant and sit there quiet in a corner. It's like so many people in the restaurant, and you know, it's like first time I could not concentrate, because then I said, you know, cover yourself, go in the back, and they see me eating alone. They're like, sir, कोई और आएगा? तो मैं कहा नहीं, मैं ही खाऊंगा बस. मैं कहा सर आराम से दे दो. कहते सर आपने मुंह ढका हुआ. I'm like, मुझे ना ये भक्ति की तरह खाना खाना है, प्रसाद की तरह. And vegetarian food. And imagine what the way they do is there are no menus, they have nothing. So it's going to someone's house when they start feeding you. And that is my benchmark. I'm so sorry, it's not a French chef who has 18 Michelin stars. It's my benchmark is Sasuma. It's a moral compass of understanding the power of the food business, to answer your question. They have supremely achieved, which none of the Michelin star chefs around the world could do.
Beautiful. Last color क्या है? कौन सा है last color?
Last color एक छोटी सी short story थी, and I was in Vrindavan. I was in Vrindavan shooting for my book Utsav. You know, I've written 42 books, and most of the books are short by me. We published 37, but most of the books are short by me because, you know, I realized that if I have to achieve a dream of writing 50 books, which I promised to my papa, I said, I will have to be self-sustainable and I have to understand entire logistics, because getting these American French photographers in your house and in your kitchens, and they're shooting 2 dishes in a day and charge you $150, $200, and that is never going to work for me. I will have to learn that and so in the restaurant basement, I trained myself that how to do this photography. You got the lights and you got the camera, you put it on tripod, you figure out new bases. So if you ever come to my house, you're going to see no plates match each other. All the good, because book में तो एक ही plate चाहिए होती है ना खाना रखने के लिए. वो मैंने दुनिया भर की इकट्ठी की हुई है. And that what became my base of my opening a museum for under my dad's name. But because इतने बर्तन इकट्ठे हुए, करूँ क्या, कहाँ रखूँ? You know, I live in New York City. It's per square centimeter is the real estate cost. और पूरा घर बर्तनों से भरे हुए हैं. So that is why we said, let's open a museum. We have everything to open a museum. Let's put our brains together.
Wow.
And last color, I was shooting my book in Vrindavan, and I saw these holy, majestic. I have a lot of faith in Banke Bihari temple. And as we were walking out, we saw a lot of widows on the by-lanes and in the balcony. Or dur se dekh rahi hain, and they are looking at people drenched in color, and they were totally white. It brought me back to my childhood when I saw my aunts and my neighbors, where these women lived this life where they were never allowed to be part of festivals, of rituals, of childbirths. Imagine my grandmother not holding me when I was born. Imagine that. And and then it had an impact on me when my grandfather passed away. I remember going to my grandmother's room and throwing tantrums. You're not going to wear a white sari. And I remember there was a story my grandmother used to tell me when my bua became widow in Bombay, and when she came to the station with her 2 dogs, my father went to pick her up, and my father fell on his knees because my bua was always wearing dramatic colors and she was wearing total white. And he says, I don't recognize you. This is not my sister. I want my sister back. That is, I felt that those fears were in my brain. But that day in Vrindavan, I said, oh my God, it's something had just provoked me. Maybe I was living in the US for so long, and this was like, and I wrote a short story called Colorless on Air India flight from Delhi.
Achha.
And nothing worked. It's hard for me to publish fiction. I didn't realize that it's going to be challenging. Cookbooks to मैं किसी भी publishing house को reach out करता हूँ मैं. And then 2013, after the Supreme Court orders in 2012, these widows actually played holy, thanks to amazing organizations who actually worked on this, and so many people fought for their rights. And 2013 Holi, I opened my computer and it's all over Holi. And I have never seen such sacred Holi. And some of the women are on the floor, they are smiling and their tears making way through those colors. It was like so much to me. And I remember my bhabhi ji, she used to be my neighbor, and she was Peshawar se aaye the wo log. She was white and used to wear white sari. और होली के दिन में उनके पाम पे I used to put pink color, उसका favorite रंग, and वो मुझे बंद कर लेते थे कि कोई देखे ना. And she knew it, I was crazy. And I remember that she would call me instead of her kids so many times. अगर उनको कुछ चाहिए होता था, हमारी same दीवार थी. And Vikku, कित्थे गया मेरा Vikku? And she always said मेरा Vikku. And she was very close to me. And I said, oh my God, how can color be taken away? Color is the symbol of spring, and spring is inclusivity and change. And then the last color happened, and I started writing a screenplay. And I started writing a novel and we got a novel deal done, fantastic. And everything is happening undercover. Nobody knows in this world that this is happening. And then my writer, Paul, he's a Greek and American heritage. He kept insisting, because you have to understand, this is a movie. And movie will create an impact or revolution, which you cannot imagine what you can do with it. Movie is much more bigger. And I said, okay. And we started doing the screenplay. And I said, I had met Neena ji in a plane once, and because my grandfather used to love her so much, and he used to always say, कि ऐसे ना कोई पता नहीं कि the way she's been raised, ऐसे मुँह से ना नूर है बड़ा. And you also know that generation was writing and speaking Urdu.
बिल्कुल.
Noor है बड़ा ही noor. And he would always use difficult, because he was a big fan of Mirza Ghalib, and because that's transcended to me. And then I figured out, I need the movie. I need her. Nobody's been able to capture that light. and I want to capture that light. And we started working on a screenplay. It was very hard for me because I was opening 2 restaurants in Dubai, 1 restaurant in Dubai that time, and I would be flying between Dubai, New York, and India, all undercover, and people asking, "Aap kya kar rahe ho India mein?" I can't tell even the closest people. And we found the girl. Once we found the girl, and I put everything in place because I called Mr. Anupam Kher. He's like an elder brother to me, and he said that because Neena will say yes if you're fully prepared. She's very intuitive, and she picks up her roles and way she gravitates toward it. So तू ना बिल्कुल prepare होके जाना. So I'm like, I'm gonna get one chance. So I'll figure out a way to do this. So as we do the books and thesis and PhDs, कि पूरा organization में सब कुछ जा रहा है. उनके घर पहुंच गया और बड़ा उनको impress करने की कोशिश की. मैम ये भी करूँगा. और मैंने कहा नीना जी आपके पोस्टर में टाइम स्क्वायर में लगाऊंगा. झूठ पे झूठ. मुझे लग रहा है why am I saying this thing? But I can't control myself. I have to impress her. If she's not Noor, there's no Noor. There's no last color. And I narrated a one last scene, which is the climax of the movie. And I don't know how her reaction is because in that scene, she's not even there. And she's saying, give me the dates. She was shooting Badhaiyo and she's saying, give me the dates and I'm coming. सच्ची कह रहे हो ना? कहते हाय बिल्कुल ही पागल है तू तो. मैं बोल रही हूँ ऐसा ठीक है अब तो तैयारी कर अपनी. मैं क्या मैम सही तैयारी कर ली. प्रोडक्शन टीम ये है, ये को डायरेक्टर होगा, ये ऐसे होगा, ये ऐसे आपके सब कुछ मैं खुद ही करूँगा. एंड शी सेज मुझे डेट बता मैं वाराणसी आऊँगी. And that's the way the movie was made, step by step. And you know, one thing was also very dark in my life that time was that in 2015 my papa passed away, and I went to Varanasi to hide because I feel the way that city comforts you, there's no place on the planet which comforts you. It also tells you that they have not gone, they're right here. There's something magical about the city. Its walls, its waters, its guards. कुछ होता है आपको वहां जाके कि oh my god, इतने सालों की वहां पे इंटेलेक्ट है, तपस्या है, faith है. And I used to sleep on the boat because I also had a lot of guilt of leaving parents, you know, as I went abroad to make my own life. And my papa, I had spoken to him just 1.5 hours before he passed away. And he was Serena Williams का मैच आना था रात को ऑस्ट्रेलिया ओपन का. And he said कि and there was अभी उनके घर में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आया था. I had just signed up for Mercedes Association. And she's saying अरे मेरा पुत्र दी मर्सिडीज आएगी. मेरा था सपना सी मर्सिडीज बैठना. तो मैं क्या पापा बोल देते मैं लाइन लगा देता. And he said तू कभी पूछा नहीं. But that thing. And after 1.5 hours, I get a call from my bhabhi that Papa's passed away. वो बात मेरे दिमाग में बिल्कुल बैठ गई. And you know, because I'm little low IQ level, few things stick in my brain, and then I did not know how to overcome this pain of saying I never even asked. And you know, when I went back home, first thing, you know what I did? I got a Mercedes. I put it in the outside. I said I want the latest model. I called them, and I had the Mercedes. मम्मा कह रहे हैं कि मम्मा everybody is saying कि पापा की डेथ हुई है अभी. What are you doing? I'm like नहीं, this is going to take relieve me of some pain. मैं कहा अब पापा I can कितनी गाड़ियां चाहिए मुझे ये बता दो आप, पर मैं आपको कहाँ से लेके आऊँ. You know, that is when I say that people say how do you stay so stable in failures. I said because I've realized the biggest failure was losing a parent. I can recover everything. There's houses, planes, cars, everything I can recover. What will I do with that? वो मैं कहाँ से लेके आऊँ? हाँ, किसको पैसे दूं के बोलूं कि एक दिन के लिए आप पिक्चर इंडिया में रिलीज हो रही है, पापा प्लीज कम बैक. एंड द मूवी ओपन्स विद डेडिकेटेड टू माय डैड. And then one day something strange happened to me on the ghat. I'm sleeping in the boat, lying down. सर्दी थी, मैंने ब्लैंकेट पहना हुआ था, थर्मल्स पहने हुए थे. And I started humming something. And I still remember that hum I did. And I told my boat वाला लड़का कि कहते सर आप तो कल बड़े गुनगुना रहे थे. मैंने कहा हाँ लगा है ना. कहता हाँ. अरे कहते वो गंगा माँ आपको लोरी सुना रही थी. Oh, that hit me so hard. And I went back to my motel I was staying. And तब कुंभ का मेला खत्म ही हुआ था. This is in January. तो अभी भी रश काफी था घाटों के ऊपर. तो I found a silent place and I started humming that tune. And I kept it in my phone. And when the movie was being conceptualized, music की बात हुई, I said, I have a music. वो गंगा की लोरी. And my boat wala said that, that Gangama was trying to put you to sleep. She felt her son is really tired.
Oh.
And that has given me energy till now. And one day I was just looking in the waters and says, Sir, आप उदास मत हो पापा के लिए. मैं कहा क्यों? मैं उदास नहीं हूँ. कहते because he's living in you. So every time you're sad, he's sad. Every time you're looking at the reflection, you're looking at him. Every time you're moving forward, he's moving forward with you. How can you separate a parent from a child? That gave me enough to come back and face the world. We resumed MasterChef shooting. We resumed Twist of Taste. I was shooting. I was writing for National Geographic Mega Kitchen series that time. And I had to submit a big book. And I kept thinking to myself, and I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I realized that I told him कि हम जैसे नालायक बच्चे होते हैं ना, हम किताबें पढ़ते नहीं, लोग हमारी किताबें पढ़ते हैं. पापा कहते तर पेंगे ना गोश्त खाने आएगा नहीं तेनो. तो मैं कहा पापा कहते अच्छा की किताबा लिखेगा तो मैं कहा 50 किताबा लिखनी है मैं. And after 50, even if you pay me $5 million to write a book, I'm not going to write a book. I'm going to complete my 50 books with full integrity. And that's my wrap up of writing industry.
Wow. मैं बात कर रहा था किसी और कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पूनम कॉल से.
हाँ जी.
और उन्होंने कहा वो फिल्म है और फिर आपका जिक्र आ गया और फिर बनारस की बात आ गई. थोड़ा तो आपने बताया, बट उन्होंने कहा कि द लास्ट कलर में हम बनारस को जिस तरह से देखेंगे उस तरह से देखा नहीं गया है. इसके बारे में बताइए.
I was shooting something as Recce. मैंने खुद की सारी 20 trips लगे मेरे वाराणसी के. And imagine, and you're not that you go to the airport, you're recognized, right? In India. And I had to be always discreet because people kept asking, कुछ चल रहा है आपका, कोई रेस्टोरेंट खुलना है यहाँ पे, कुछ खुलना है. तो संजीव जी का रेस्टोरेंट खुला ही था वहाँ पे. तो सब कह रहे आप उसकी इनॉग्रेशन के लिए आ रहे हो, उसकी तैयारी कर रहे हो, पार्टनरशिप आपकी. Everybody has to ask that question. So we said, no, नहीं, कुछ काम कर रहा हूँ, बस देखने आता हूँ गंगा को. So I used to do Recce, all the things myself. And I remember one thing when Mr. Shyam Benegal saw the movie, he's saying, इस लेवल का वाराणसी कैप्चर नहीं हुआ. The way you have gone deep inside. And the way it affected Neena ji, and it shows. And I used to say that this story was given to me by Ganga ji. Varna mujhe kyun ladki milti? Because I'm from Varanasi to Allahabad, I was going. And this is a group of people who are actually going back to Jharkhand. Mele ke liye paise kamane ke liye aate na log. So she was raising money and she was a rope walker. And she said, मैंने कहा गंगा के घाट पे सब कुछ हो रहा है. She is telling me the story about her daughters. कि go and tell the story, go. And every time I'll be photographing, even my cinematographer Chintu कहते कि यार गंगा कैसी दिखती है ये जब. मैंने कहा that's the, I don't know what she does. And there was a sequences where नीना जी saying हाय माँ गंगा. मैं कहा नीना जी प्लीज शॉट कर लो. कहती कितनी सुंदर. मैंने कहा I know. Because we felt she's so happy. I don't know. It was colors she was displaying, and it was something else. The rivers, the ghats, the trees we got. There was a sequence which I just posted that एक उसमें perfect frame में लगाया लड़का लड़की का introduction shot है. एक perfect position उनके बीच में एक बंदर आके बैठता है, रोटी खाता है, चला जाता है, फिर वापस आता है, रोटी खाता चला जाता है. And we did long shots, because I'm not a trained filmmaker who says cut slow. बहुत semi जैसे slow आपका cafe है वैसे slow movie है. So, and I felt that Ganga is directing the movie also with me. She's telling the story. She's the cinematographer. She's the light. And I did not understand. And Neena ji kept, and when I tell Neena ji fikr mat karo, Ganga माँ है अपने आप को भेज देगी अपना बच्चा, अपने आप शॉर्ट हो जाएगी चीज. And she's like, कोई और बोलता, मैं कहती हूँ फ्रॉड बातें कर रहा है, पर तेरे साथ सच्ची होता है कि आप खड़े हो या अपने आप हो जाएगा ना, बैठी गंगा यहाँ पे. And we used to be like sitting there, मैं कहा नीना जी ये आपका शॉट है, डांस सीक्वेंस है, तो गंगा जी के कहते हैं my God, the way you refer to Ganga ji is like your mother. I said yeah, my grandmother, mother, everything. And she said मैं गंगा जी के पास 6 मिनट होते हैं रंग ये दिखाने के हमको, because it's very, and we did not have like CG में कर लेंगे, बाद में कलर करेक्शंस कर लेंगे, कुछ नहीं था हमारे पास.
Right.
And I said नीना जी 6 मिनट में आपको डांस सीक्वेंस खत्म करनी है, and I am not there on the terrace, we are all hiding, we're going to shoot this entire sequence from the drone. And वो position sun की जो होगी, क्योंकि उस position पे गंगा मैया मतलब she changes the color. And she said, what do you feel about this? I said, I feel that sun has no other purpose to rise except for looking at his daughter.
Wow.
There is no other reason. I feel the sun is totally, like, I don't feel the sun as a power. When it comes here, it's like he's bowing down to his daughter and saying, I'm only here for you. And she reacts to it with this dignity and pride that she goes and hugs him, literally like father and child relationship. And Neena ji is like, I have never worked with somebody. And somehow it worked. That scene is so powerful. Choti ladki nail polish lagati, and I want to exaggerate, magnify that moment. And now she does a dance sequence of Imaginary Holi, which is a part of Kathak. But we had to combine Bharatnatyam and Kathak, because the opening shot where she does the jata, the Ganga flows, that is actually Bharatnatyam. So I borrowed that little liberty. It starts from that, and then it becomes Krishna and Radha Holi khel rahe hain. And as she's doing Holi, she starts believing in that imaginary Holi. And then there are like 20 motions to and forth of beauty, and she's looking into mirror as she gets ready and she goes, and crying, and then saying, why am I dancing? And why am I happy? And she closes her eyes, and then she moves in circles. She loved and Neena ji was practicing the dance sequence almost, I think, 2-1.5 बजे तक तो मेरे को याद है हम लोग उठे हुए थे. And I was dancing with her because छोटी लड़की को हमने घर भेज दिया because morning wake up था उसका. And Neena was dancing with me. And when she's looking at Ganga, she's like, oh my God, हमने पहले क्यों नहीं देखी? Like she's almost there. I think Neena ji हमेशा थी. I just think that we were not paying attention to what she was trying to tell us. So that is what Poonam was referring to, that every wall, every light, gold हमको light, हर जगह पे.
Wow.
Crazy, right? I'm talking about a movie. Some few years ago, if somebody spoke, I said, are you crazy? But of course, and to subject yourself to openness like this about your feelings and to write, it's a rare thing happening. We know that. I remember when the movie was released in Los Angeles, and people kept saying that when I was outside, it was on the weekend of Halloween, and Diwali भी उसी weekend पे थी. So वहाँ तो रश पड़ गए. I'm like, oh my God, लोग पिक्चर देखने आ रहे हैं. मतलब मेरा दिल करता खुद ही टिकट खरीदते, हॉल लगे फुल है. And first day I went, I said खुद ही टिकट खरीद लो ताकि उनको लगेगा सेल्स हो रही है कोई. But I saw people standing outside and I said, oh, this movie is made by a Michelin star chef. How has that happened? Like, you excel in the... And I'm looking, and I'm looking at the lady. I'm like, okay, I'm like, fine. Because, nobody can understand that. It's like almost like Lawrence Garden. कि पहला कस्टमर आया, इतने खुश हो गए, फ्री में खाना खिला दिया. अरे पैसे तो लेते, अरे कस्टमर आया था, अरे पर पैसे तो लेते हैं. Like, मेरा वही हाल था. I wanted to buy everybody ticket and say, guys, please watch.
जनानियां 22 थी और पैसे 15 से लिए.
But it was beautiful. It was LMA. I was getting the confidence that, art has no limitation of who actually creates it. Art has life of its own. It's like a child.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It gains its own longevity.
My God. What a journey already, let me say, because I'm sure there are going to be many, many more milestones. बहुत से पड़ाव आएंगे आपकी यात्रा में. मैं इस यात्रा को यहीं रोकना चाहूँगा, इस बातचीत को, क्योंकि मैं बड़ा लालची हूँ कि आप और मैं मेरे गांव के घर स्लो के बरामदे में बैठे हैं और बहुत से और जो सवाल, जो भावनाएं आ रही हैं वो शेयर करें. एक आपको डिजिटल झप्पी तो भेज ही रहा हूँ मैं.
अच्छा, आपके घर पे नहीं आ रहा. मैंने बड़ा सामान चोरी करना आपके घर का. मैंने बहुत कुछ देखा हुआ है. यहाँ के फ्लोर पे भी मैंने फ्लोर भी उठा के ले जाना. That house is so beautiful. It just देख के लगता है there's a peace in this world, and the clouds, the way they shine on that house, it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. All credit to my wife Yamini. She's planned and designed it. So many nice things have been said about my house, but
इन्हीं का बच के रहना मेरे से, मैंने आके सब कुछ चोरी करके लेता म्यूजियम में चीजें लगाई हुई हैं अपने।
वाह, कमाल के इंसान है आप विकास, और बहुत बहुत बधाई इस नए अध्याय, इस नई यात्रा के लिए। कभी हमसे गाने वाने भी लिखवा लेना यार, कुछ लिखवा लेना कुछ, और हमने 10 किलो वजन किया है, कुछ एक्टिंग करा लेना, कुछ तो कराओ यार हमसे यार, इतने अच्छे काम कर रहे हो भाई। So thank you for being who you are, and for being such an inspiring, such a transparent person. मैंने आज सुबह ट्वीट किया था कि बहुत कम इंसान हैं और मेरे कुछ बड़े पसंदीदा इंसान हैं जिनसे मैं मिला ही नहीं हूँ, और उनमें से आप एक हैं। आज एक तरह की मुलाकात हुई है, तो बहुत बहुत बताइए फिर से। आप जल्दी मिलें और नई नई चीज़ें करें, इतनी शिद्दत, इतने पैशन से करें। और आप जब ये कर रहे हैं तो इवन मुझ जैसे लोगों को जिन्होंने अपने अपने पागलपन जिए हैं, मैंने बहुत से, लेकिन एक नई एनर्जी मिल रही है कि हाँ, नए रास्ते ढूंढे जा सकते हैं, नई चीज़ें की जा सकती हैं। तो बहुत शुक्रिया और थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू।